Sal Pal Friday, right here on the Sports Bash Live 97.3 ESPN. Mike Gill with you at Mike Gill Show. Follow me on Twitter. And, of course, Sal Paolantonio, ESPN's national NFL reporter. You can check him out on the Matchup Show. Sal Pal ESPN on Instagram. And thanks to the good people at the Berger Realty, the Griner team in Ocean City, with all your real estate needs, he is right here with us on a Sal Pal Friday on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app as the Eagles get ready to host the Baltimore Ravens in front of about 7,000 fans, we think. I don't know, Sal, all the fans didn't show up last week in Pittsburgh. Are the Eagles fans going to let the team down and not fill those 7,000 seats?
No way. I texted you from Heinz Field last week, shocked that 12%, 14%, I think the number was, of the fans that had tickets did not show. No shows. They had, I couldn't believe it. And they were shocked in Pittsburgh too. I know, talking to the Steelers organization and then people around town, they were like, where was everybody? It wasn't a bad day. It was a couple of sprinkles. I walked around the stands and tried to get a sense and a feel for what it was like. And it was dead as a doornail. Wow. Dead as a doornail.
Yeah, when you sent me that, I was 12%. I'm thinking, man, the Eagles fans would never do that. But here they sit at 1-3-1, and you wonder, are people already kind of running away from this team? Have they bailed out on this outfit that we see every Sunday?
I want to tell you right now, there will be not a single no-show tomorrow or Sunday.
Well, that's good. That's comforting to know, and I think I agree with you. I know people have been trying to get tickets the way they've been doing with the lottery. I know a couple people who got them, a couple people who did not, so I think that you will see that. I want to ask you, Sal, all right, you see this team put 29 up last week offensively. Fulgham obviously has been a big story. What did we learn maybe about this offense in the last week against Pittsburgh?
Well, I think the most important thing is that when Carson Wentz takes care of the football, they have a chance to win. And when he doesn't, they don't. And that's the bottom line. And he has developed a nice connection with Travis Fulgham. I think there was a specific reason for that, though. And that was because the Steelers defense just decided to double team Zach Ertz and take Ertz away. And, they singled up on Fulgham, and Fulgham came down with, 10 catches. So I think that Baltimore will not make that mistake. Now, the obvious difference with the Ravens is that their secondary is actually much better than the Steelers, and they do blitz from the secondary position. We have a great breakdown. Greg Cosell does a great job this week on the Matchup Show breaking down how and why the Ravens lead the league with 7 sacks from their defensive back position, which is really a high number considering we are only in week 6.
I want to get your take then on what the Eagles okay, you mentioned Ertz, that teams are doubling him. Is that essentially why he has been out of the offense essentially all year? I mean, there hasn't been a game where he's really been a factor. So since he's the only guy left, are teams just game planning Ertz?
Well, the production has been down at the tight end position. Goddard got hurt. They ran a lot of 2 tight end sets. They led the league last year in snaps with 2 tight ends on the field. And without Goddard, that creates double teams for Zach Ertz. And what they want to do with Ertz is usually the first read for Wentz. Either through muscle memory or through design. You take that away, and then you attack Carson Wentz. I think the number one thing that has to happen in order for this offense to really get healthy, and I'm not talking about injuries, but to really get right, is they've got to get Carson Wentz on the move. They got a whole committee of people looking at that offense. Scangarella, Marty Morningwig, Press Taylor, Doug Peterson, the quarterback himself, Josh McCown down in Texas looking at the film. They need to design more of what the Rams do, boot action, play action, designed movement out of the pocket, moving the launch pad for Carson Wentz like Stefanski does for Mayfield and like he did last year for Kirk Cousins. Those kinds of small, subtle things can really create some time for Carson Wentz. And then you saw a bunch of reverses last week from Pittsburgh. right? You saw a lot of flips to the wide receiver. You saw Ben giving up the ball quick. So I think that they have to start doing that if they don't. Let me give you some numbers. Carson Wentz has been sacked 19 times, under pressure on 68 dropbacks, pressured 30% of the time, all the most through the first 5 games of a season in his career. He has 9 interceptions as a result. He leads the NFL with 9 picks. I'm going to give this to you, Mike Gill, and I got this from ESPN Stats and Information, and I said, give me something good for the Mike Gill show. And they said, well, we went back and we looked at it. No Eagles quarterback has ever led the NFL in interceptions. Never.
And he's and by the way, he's only thrown 7 each of the last 3 years. I mean, 7, 7, 7, 3 straight seasons. He's already surpassed each of the last 3 years, which I noticed last week.
If he leads the league in interceptions, he will be the first Eagles quarterback ever to do it.
Jeez. Well, he's going to have to do it without Deshaun Jackson again. He is out. Alshon Jeffrey is out. Lane Johnson is officially out for the game. We also know Matt Pryor is also out for the game. So they're going to be very shorthanded again with this game. And you just wonder, with all of that, I know you're not counting on Deshaun and Alshon, but them being out again, Lane Johnson officially out, Matt Pryor's the 5th different starting line. It just seems that there's just too much up against you against this Ravens defense.
Well, it is, and they're a very well-designed defense. But again, Mike, with that offensive line, and here's the starting offensive line. It's Jordan Mailata, Nate Herbig, Jason Kelsey, Jamon Brown, and Jack Driscoll. So when you have that offensive line, you've got to design things to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands. You got to design things to create misdirection and deception.
Yes. You
got to have some formation variation. This offense, to me, is way too vanilla, way too static, given what is presented to the quarterback.
I agree with that 100%. I'd like to see Doug accentuate the positives of the guys that he has, even if he's shorthanded. If I got a guy who's a little inexperienced at receiver, let me hand him the ball on a jet sweep. You don't see enough of that. And by the way, they're getting killed, as you mentioned, on the jet sweep. They've given up over 150 yards rushing to receivers this year, 3 touchdowns to receivers rushing the ball this year. And I got to get your take on what's going on with Geary and the linebacker spot. I mean, until they recognize they have a problem there, teams are going to go after him every single week.
Yeah, quarterbacks were 23 for 23 when targeting Nate Geary.
Jeez.
That's the only player. That's the only defensive player in the NFL that has been targeted more than 20 times, and every single ball has bbe completed.
It's unbelievable. Literally, that stat is unbelievable.
So it is. So let me just give a piece of advice to Jim Schwartz. Don't have him in coverage. He's a good tackler. He's a smart player, but he shouldn't be covering Chase Claypool, rookie out of Notre Dame. It was a complete mismatch. And by the way, go back and watch that play. Watch it. I invite all of your listeners to go to the All-22 or even the highlight and watch how Rodney McLeod is covering grass on that play. He's covering blades of grass. They are in a deep cover 2, and Rodney McLeod shades over to the sideline where there's a corner covering the outside boundary receiver. He doesn't need to help the corner. He needs to help the linebacker in the middle of the field. He covers no one, and that's the reason why Geary gets burned. We want to blame Geary, but guess what? He's been put in a bad position by his defensive coordinator, and he's not getting any help that he should be getting on a wide receiver. He should be getting help from a safety or a corner.
Will Parks is going to be back this week. Does he help at all this defense?
Sure, of course, absolutely.
So, I mean, he's going to play a pretty big role, I would imagine. He's probably going to fill the role that Mills was playing at that safety spot, and I guess they're going to try to use him in coverage more. That's what he did in Denver a lot.
Right. Well, the season is on the brink, and they have to face Lamar Jackson for the first time. Yeah. And here's the bottom line: you just can't. I mean, they're using Jalen Hurts in practice,
right,
to try to imitate Jackson on the scout team. It's nearly impossible to do. I started just talking to a lot of coaches, and one AFC North coach told me, you can't duplicate Jackson's speed. He said he's become great, too, with the ball fake. You know, you look at how he fooled those veteran linebackers in Washington and ran for a long touchdown up the gut. The first time you see how fast and elusive he is, it's a shock. It's a total shock. I don't know how they prepare for him. You know, at the beginning of the week, I thought, Mike, that the Eagles would win the game. I just had a feeling. But now with all the injuries on the right side of the offensive line and no indication from this, you know, Politburo, for lack of a better term, that's, you know, running the Eagles offense by committee. And they have not changed a thing. It's static. It's vanilla. It's not interesting. They don't move the quarterback off of his launch point. He's just a sitting duck back there. It's like, meet me at the quarterback.
+7, by the way. The last couple of weeks you told us they'll lose but cover. Does that have the same feel this week where you lose but you fight, or is this a blowout?
I don't think they cover this week.
All right, Baltimore big. By the way, Greg Roman, local guy down here, is he a guy – I love the way he accentuates the positives of what he has there. But you wonder, is he a guy who's a head coaching candidate? He was a couple of years ago after San Francisco, or do people just kind of look at him as a coordinator?
You know, listen, he's got to win a playoff game with Lamar Jackson in that offense, right? I mean, let's just be real about it, right, Mike?
Sure. Yeah. Oh, hey, look, if the Eagles are to do something, they got to get a lead and try to get Jackson to come from behind. That's where he struggles. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm a big Greg Roman fan, and I think he deserves a shot at a head coaching position. But if you're going to be one and done with the NFL MVP, and you only scored 12 points against the Titans at home after going 14-2, that's on you.
All right, it's all going down. Merrill and Mike have the call, 1 o'clock, 97.3 ESPN. The Eagles hosting the Baltimore Ravens. It's a Sal Pal Friday. Sal likes the Ravens, and it sounds like he likes the Ravens big, just like the big guys over at the Griner team at the Burger Realty in Ocean City in Upper Township. 35 years experience. 35 years experience for Sal Pal. How many years you been doing this, Sal?
This is actually, as a reporter, 35 on the NFL 29. And thanks to Johnny G and the Griner team at Burger Realty, they're stepping up to the plate. And, you know, in these days when you have to make a decision about a real estate team, you know, you got to go with who you can trust and who's got experience down there in the Jersey Shore. And I really, really, really appreciate their support.
We appreciate it as well, and we always appreciate the Sal Pal Friday right here on the Sports Bash. Everybody, that's Sal Paolantonio. Sal, have a great weekend, man.
Okay, Michael.
All right, he, like August, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline.